Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome to Pinewood Hills, our sort of realistic British style park here in Planet Coaster. Today we're getting some stuff done that I've been putting off ever since the studio pack came out, to be honest with you, but it's something that needs doing, and I think it actually turns out really quite nicely. Somebody pointed out that I say that quite a lot. It turns out quite nice. I didn't realise, so it's not meant to be a catchphrase, but if it's something I say a lot, then what are you going to do? So first things first, we're getting rid of all of the huge path that basically makes up this road here, and the reason I'm doing that is because we can now use the terrain paint, and it's just going to make things a lot easier to be able to play with. But we do need some path there because we are going to want peeps to actually cross at the crossing, and they're going to cross from this tram line that we're putting in. So this came as part of the studio's pack as a backlot studio tour, which is what we're going to be using it for in Geekism Studios. But I also think one thing that I love about the more recent stuff for Planet Coaster is that they're keeping it really generic, and I also think it looks quite good as just a general transport system. So we're going to be using it as a car park transport system. So you can see there, actually it's a really good shot of it, an artwork little choo-choo train thing, little sort of road train that we were using as like to give the idea of a car park transport, and it was really great. Got it off the workshop, but you know, now we have something we can actually use that will actually transport guests around, and they will use it as a transport ride, and I thought it'd be a perfect way of doing it. So we now have a station here. It also gives us a reason for this big area of space that we had before between the disabled parking and the regular parking, and then I've just placed the other station at the other side of the car park. Now at the moment the other station goes nowhere. Occasionally people will come and ride it, just because I guess it has relatively high scenery from all the stuff in the car park. They will come occasionally ride it, but what actually is going to happen is that's going to be a second entrance to the map, using a train station. So we're going to build a train station and let peeps come out of it. So we'll throw it into the scenario editor and add a second entrance point there, and then it'll give them a reason. Basically they'll come out the train station, they can get on the bus and they can come over, and it just means that we're going to get a few different areas of flow into the park from different sort of points, and I think it'll work out quite nicely. I'd said it again. Oh god, I'm going to be dead conscious of that now. I can't even remember who it was who pointed it out, but they pointed it out and I was like, oh, I don't think I say that, and now I'm going to notice it every time I say it. Okay, so just moving the what am I doing here? Trying to move these little things. I don't know what they're called, but they're like little areas of like raised up bobbly bits and it's for blind people to be able to know that there's a crossing there. They can sort of feel it with their feet or with their sticks, I guess. Yeah, I was just moving them across there. So I'm in a bit of a mess with the path here. The path's all going to be covered up using the new pavement pieces, so it doesn't really matter that it turns out a bit funky. Next thing we're going to work on is a cover for these. So I don't really want to call it a station, but really we want to make a cover for this bus. I want to keep it really light, really generic theming, because one, this is a very budget British park, and two, this isn't even in the park, so they would really keep this stuff light. So if you think about something like the monorail station at Alton Towers, it has quite a similar look to this. Obviously it's on a grander scale, but that's kind of the feel I was going for here, really. It's basically a roof to stop the things rusting, you know. Part of me thinks that these should probably have a shed of some description as well, that we can sort of make it look like they drive into at night. That's not a bad idea, actually. I've just thought of that. We should probably do that, add some sort of shed where these head into. We have got a stationary one of them as a scenery piece, but it's all battered and smashed up, but that could probably work in the shed. You know, it could look like a tree's fell on it or something like that. I don't know. Might as well use it. A lot of the times, again, I've said this before, I want to use the pieces that we get in these DLCs, but you've got to be careful not to be using them for the sake of using them, if that makes sense. So, but I think that would look quite cool, actually. A smashed up one in a shed somewhere. That would work out quite nice, I think. So here we're doing like a wooden frame. It looks a little bit like a barn to start off with, but I think I kind of move away from that in the first place. So I know I recently said on Twitter, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll have seen this, I'm going to try not to yawn in videos. It's only because I've been burning the candle at both ends a little bit recently with getting the house ready for sale. And actually this week I feel like I've been really good. I've been getting plenty of sleep and recording at decent times. Unfortunately, Tonight's a Thursday, the day before Pinewood Hills comes out. Normally I get them done a little bit ahead of time, but like I say, with all the housework and stuff, I've been pushed back to Thursday. Although a lot of this that you're seeing now was recorded earlier in the week. But my plan was Thursday, Nicola was going out, I got the baby, he went down, he would go down around about 7, and I'd be able to come in and have an hour or two playing, because I wanted to start working on the campsite at the other side of the park today. Actually, that was going to be the plan. We're going to try and use the hotels function that came with 1.6 for our campsite. Play for a couple of hours, throw it all together, do the narration, and then render it overnight, ready for Friday. Unfortunately, Xander had other plans. He's been an absolute sod tonight, for want of a better word. Just would not settle. We're not sure whether he's teething or if we're trying to drop a nap in the daytime, and or maybe it's just, he was just being a bit of an arse, It's one of the few things it could have been. So unfortunately, I haven't really got time to play tonight, and I've had to sort of sit with Xander and settle him until Mum got home. And eventually we've got him down. It's now 11:30 at night. So I've literally come in here using the footage I recorded the other day, and I'm recording the voiceover for it. So unfortunately no campsite today, and probably, although the video's clocking in at about 17-18 minutes, I was planning on it being about a 25-minute episode with both the car park work here and then the campsite as well. So unfortunately this too shall pass. It's just the car park here, unfortunately. But we do some quite cool stuff. Like I say, we've got the tarmac paint there, which there was a little update on it. When it first came out, it was a bit funky, especially the tarmac was really bright. Although the concrete one looked really good, and it matched this sort of lighter path that we can see at the bottom of the screen here. They fixed it. I do in inverted brackets here. There's a problem with the parallax apparently, and the tarmac one is now much more usable. Looks great and almost fits in with the tarmac path. You can see the path is slightly lighter there at the road crossing, but I feel like it's close enough to get away with. Now, unfortunately, it's meant that the other one, the concrete one, now looks nothing like that sort of light path. It's now more of a steely grey colour. So I don't really know what they're trying to do with those, really. I know for a fact that in the live stream, Sam Denny said that these were going to be used to fill in the little gaps in paths. So why aren't they the same patterns as the two sort of plain tarmacy paths that we've got? I don't know. It's really great that they're trying to help us out with these little things that we're asking for, but the implementation sometimes is just real funky. Anyway, we end up just covering it all in pavement blocks anyway, so we're doing more of what we used to. Here, I try and do like a natural thing here, bit of a berm kind of work that in. It makes it quite messy, and we have to do a little bit of tidying up, but I think it works out okay. Again, the idea here is that it's really light theming. Oh, look at me yawning, I'm so sorry. Really light theming. It's out of the park. This is completely, what's the word, like necessity. It's complete sort of function over style. This is basically going to be getting people out of the park. This little area is here. They come here, they get on the coach, and they go and get their car and they clear off. We've got your money, get out of here, sort of thing. So I'm trying to keep the theming really, really light. The queue line just uses the barriers there. Again, this is the kind of thing I think they would use. These can get packed away at the end of the night, rolled up and stuck out of the way, and then the only permanent thing here is a bit of fencing there. We actually use that pirate one. I think that's quite a cute fence, really, and relatively generic. Here is something pretty cool. I've been, again, one of these things that I've kind of been putting off, to be honest, for a few weeks, but I finally get in there. If you don't know, we have a Patreon. Patreon, if you don't know what that is basically a crowdfunding for online, for regular content, not necessarily online stuff. But if you've heard of Kickstarter, where you maybe pay £10 or £20 for an album or a film or whatever, with Patreon, it's the same sort of thing, but it's regular for people who make regular content. So rather than giving 20 quid as a one-off, you might give £1 or $1 or $2 per month for ongoing content, such as content creators like myself. So we use Patreon to really helps fund the channel, to be honest with you, and it helps me sort of take extra time off work and slowly shift work-life balance to being able to produce more content and better content, at least. Anyway, one of the tiers, you have different varying tiers that you pay for, and one of the tiers has always been that you get your name in the game. Now, if you remember way back when we had Geekopolis and we did the really huge Disney-style park, that unfortunately, due to the files corrupting and just basically running like a three-legged dog, we can't go back into there. But in there we had a Hall of Presidents that we called the Hall of Patrons, and we could and we added little animatronics for each person in there. And that was something I didn't really want to do in Pinewood because it just didn't really fit the theme, fit the budget. So I was asking for suggestions, and I forget who, I think it might have been a couple of people actually suggested, what about reserved parking in the car park? So I thought it was a great idea, so that's what we've done. So now if you are a top tier patron, you may have caught it on the time lapse there, but your name is now in the park as a reserved parking space. Some of you get cars, some of you don't. There's nothing special about who gets a car. I literally plunked them down to make them look good. I didn't want to fill the car park with cars. You're all whoever does have a car, a terrible parker as well, really bad parking, because we've had to sort of put them on a squiff so you can see the names. A couple of you get some extra special cars as well. One of you gets the kit car there. I think one of you gets a minivan, and one of you gets like a crazy off-road truck thing as well, which I'm looking for. There we go, just to get the various different models we've got. I think who's that? Is that Kelbell there? I couldn't quite see who it was. So yeah, thank you very much for the ongoing support with Patreon. It really, really does help. Whilst ad revenue on YouTube is great, and obviously the more people who come to the channel, the more ad revenue we get. It's a fraction of what you probably think it's going to be, and also it's so varied each month. Like December was really great, but then January's been awful. I've had a couple of good weeks of it now because of Studio Pack has done really good for views, but then it'll really drop off again. And Patreon is great at having that sort of the closest thing really that somebody like myself can get to having a wage, because you've got a real good idea of how much money's coming each month, every single penny. I'm not using this money to go and spend on nights out or whatever. It goes into both the channel, it helps pay for equipment, it helps pay for the internet, it helps me take days off my day job so that I can record the content, and also it just helps us live, to be honest with you. I've got a wife and a baby, and it pays for food on the table and bills in the post. So please, when I say this, thank you so much for your ongoing support. And as I record this as well, might as well mention this here, as I record this, we have just hit 20,000 subscribers on the channel, which is absolutely crazy considering we hit 15,000, which I consider to be the last sort of decent milestone. We hit that in around about Christmas time, so in the space of a few months we've gained 5,000 subscribers. Now a lot of that is down to the Studios Pack DLC with Planet Coaster. Obviously I've done quite a bit of content around that, and it's brought a lot of new eyes to the channel. But one thing I want to say, whether you subscribed 2 days ago after seeing Geekism Studios, or whether you subscribed a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whenever it was, and when we were playing Parkitect, and because I didn't get into the Planet Coaster beta, whenever it is, I am incredibly grateful for you being here. I'm incredibly grateful for you clicking that subscribe button and keep tuning in each time I post a video. It is pretty much a dream of mine to be able to do this sort of thing, and not be a YouTuber. I really hate that term, to be honest with you, but being able to be able to work from home, spend time with my son, and not have to run off and do a 9-to-5 job every single day just to pay for childcare. While I get to stay at home now, I get to watch him grow up, and whilst it's not a full-time living yet, I still do have a day job. I'm being able to really cut back what I do at the day job. I'm not having to pick up any overtime, I'm not having to pick up any sleep shifts or anything like that, and it's all thanks to you fantastic people clicking that subscribe button and tuning in each time a video comes up. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Onwards and upwards into 2018. Got some plans for the channel. Nothing crazy, people always do this when they do update videos, or mention subscriber milestones. They go, oh, we've got loads of huge new stuff coming to the channel, and then it never really pans out. I haven't really. I'm going to still be making daily content, unless something awful happens. We get a video every single day. I am trying to up my Planco content a little bit, so we're looking at doing a couple of studios a week, Pinewood a week, and the live stream a week as well, and then fill in the gaps with other games such as Surviving Mars, the movies, Parkitect I want to get back to as well. And then we've got some newer stuff coming later in the year. 2 Point Hospital is on my radar. Obviously, Jurassic World Evolution as well when that comes out. So, games-wise, we've got plenty to come. Merchandise, that's something a few of you have been asking about. Well, actually, quite a few of you have been asking about for quite a long time now. That is in the works as well. Hopefully, we're going to get some mugs and T-shirts coming to Geekism in the next couple of weeks as well. And then also, we have our second channel, Parkgasm, which is theme park vlogs and ride reviews and things like that. That's doing really well as well. We've got over 800 subscribers on that one already, so that's fantastic. So if you're into my face and you'd like to see my face on camera doing vlogs at theme parks, you can check out Parkgasm as well. The last thing I'm doing here is a little bit of backstage work. I was just sort of killing half an hour the other day, really. So, but I would have probably cut this out, but because we didn't have the campsite footage, I put this in just so I could have something to talk over while I mentioned the 20,000 subscribers thing. So again, I love that coconut. I want to shake the hand of whoever figured out the coconut piece makes really great mulch, because it's so great for filling in those little gaps. This area here that I'm doing here ends up looking so depressing, it's ridiculous, but a little bit too depressing, because I quite like the idea of having a few areas looking a bit run down, a little bit sparse, and a little bit sort of not really cared for and looked after. But this kind of looks a little bit too naff, because I use a little bit of path there that we have to end up covering up. The terrain's not flat, so this pavement that we're putting down here has to be sort of tiered down into it, and because that path work doesn't cover this whole area, I use the path so we can get some benches on it, but because the pathway doesn't cover the whole area, we can only get a few paths in. There's a bit of green there that I cover up with some plant life growing through, and I put down like 3 naff benches, and oh, look at that, how depressing does that look? So suggestions please on how to make that area look a little bit nicer. I do feel like we need a bit of an open area there. I didn't want to put another building in because I don't really want the sight line of the edge of the coaster there coming this way or coming from the other way, the sort of Sparrow Wharf itself. So suggestions on a postcard please, what can go there. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Next week we'll do our campsite, and we're definitely going to start on our steel coaster. I know I keep promising it, but we're going to start on our steel coaster soon as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel, and if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe. Any thoughts, queries or suggestions, you can pop them down in the comments. If you fancy a chat, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at John T Sparrow, and if you'd like to join in with the Geekism community, you can do so over on our Geekism Discord server. You'll find the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.